Hello, Magnus by Marika. Thank you for sharing the show. DS and 70, Mama Saunders, welcome in. Christy M, good morning. Thank you, Nino and Skylar, for also sharing the show. I appreciate it. We are live on YouTube and Twitch as well, so you will be able to watch this again later. In case you miss anything. So fear not if you need to come and go. You won't miss anything because it will be on YouTube and Twitch later on. Hey, Dave, thank you so much. Good morning, Dave from Alberta. How are you doing? Okay, so my husband is out getting his hair cut and he will be coming back and the dogs are going to lose their mind. So let's all prepare ourselves for that fun of the dogs losing their mind when my husband comes back. I will mute when that happens. Oh, thank you, Loki. Loki's brought us all his favorite toy. Thank you, Loki. You want to come up? Yeah. Oh, jeez. I didn't mean come up and attack Trump at the same time. Yes, mentally prepare for the chaos of the dogs. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Duchess Vintage. He's a dainty lap dog. He is. That really hurt. Ow! He went straight for the boob with that one. Oh dear. Okay, that's enough. No, mommy really doesn't want to touch Trump. He's all slimy. In more ways than one. All right. Welcome to the chaos. Welcome in, everybody. Today, my topic is going to be weekly bundling. I'm gonna be blasting through talking about that. Other questions I will try to get to that aren't related to weekly bundling, I will try to get to, but I cannot promise that I'm going to get to them all. If there's something, I have a lot of classes. If there's something that you want me to see, I'm going to be switching. Once I get started, I'm only going to be switching to seeing questions in front of my face. So use the question mark if you want me to see what you've said. I can't guarantee I'm going to read out everything because squirrel, I will get distracted. But we are going to be talking about weekly bundling this morning. Thank you, Christy. I think I do sound like my mother, although a younger version of her. She has dementia, and early on in the dementia process, when things were getting bad, I had to do her banking in the US without her, because every time we tried to do it with her, they assumed that somebody was coaching her, because I had to. So yeah, so I ended up just becoming her. So at one point the woman said, because they do a voice print of you, and they hadn't done a voice print of my mom yet, so they did a voice print of me. I have power of attorney and everything, so it was me skipping some of the steps because I didn't want to spend all of my days living in US banking system going down south. So I I was the woman at one point said, "You sound really young for your age." And I said, "Oh, aren't you just a sweetie?" No one's ever told me that before. You're just a sweetie. So yeah. Sorry, person I lied to, but it was necessary to be able to close down that bank account and get the money out because I got all of the US assets out. We got rid of all the US assets at one time because going back and forth wasn't feasible for mom by herself anymore. Okay, so anyways, focus, Kim. We're going to talk about hey, Mia Vita and Harmony and Judy and Kathy and Shashika. Maybe I didn't say that right. Shashi Kanth. Hello. And yes, and Duchess Vintage. This is one of many glasses. I'm wearing green today because I'm lazy and I just put on a sweatshirt this morning. Also because I was feeling chilly. Women will understand why sometimes there are some days where you just need comfy and you don't care about anything else. Hello, Hugo. Okay, so I'm going to be talking today. I'm going to be focused on talking about weekly bundling, which isn't really a top seller secret, but I'm going to talk about how you can leverage weekly bundling to your advantage. If you are a US seller watching this right now, I'm sorry, but this is not available to you yet. I'm sure that Whatnot is working on eventually rolling this out to the United States, but we are the guinea pigs. We're working out all the kinks in it. Australia, Austria, and Germany were the first countries to have this weekly bundling feature. Thank you to them for doing such a great job of figuring out all the kinks in it and helping to build it into the feature it is today. And then they did a very short beta testing program in Canada and then realized that the demand was so high that they might as well just roll it out to everybody. So as of Monday, this week, Monday, everyone who is a seller in Canada has weekly bundling as an option. So that's why I'm going through it today, because a lot of sellers still don't realize that they have this weekly bundling feature. And a lot of buyers don't realize that they have weekly bundling. But more and more buyers are learning about it. And when they're learning about it and realizing that they're saving money by using weekly bundling, they want sellers to also offer weekly bundling. So we're going to talk about that. So first, I'm going to start off by just going through the information that you can find at help.whatnot.com. Okay. It is if you are thinking of becoming a seller, if you're thinking of joining Whatnot in any capacity, even as a buyer, help.whatnot.com will answer a lot of your questions. If you are on the fence about joining Whatnot because you're unsure about it, Seller Academy at whatnot.com is another great resource. If you're in my show right now on Whatnot, go up to my show notes, which are up here, scroll down to near the bottom. There's a line of fire. Below the line of fire, I have all of those websites: Seller Academy at whatnot.com, help.whatnot.com, and also blog at blog.teamwhatnot.com. There's a lot of dots there. Good morning, everybody. Okay. So again, if you want me to see what you're saying, put a question mark in it. And then I will be able to see it. So I'm going to start with just reading some of the information that's available at help.whatnot.com. There are 2 articles at help.whatnot.com about weekly bundling. The one is first one is a general one, and then there's an FAQ. So I'm going to be reading from the FAQ because it's got more information, and then I'm going to go into more detail. So, and I am going to be repeating myself probably. So weekly bundling is a new feature that is available live for all Australian, German, Austrian, and Canadian sellers and select sellers in the UK. The feature allows buyers to bundle multiple purchases into one shipment each week. So if a buyer comes into your show throughout the week in multiple shows, their box will stay open for the entire week. So weekly bundling works by purchases made by the same buyer with the same seller throughout the week will be grouped into one shipment. A seller must turn on weekly bundling in order for a buyer to opt into this feature. The bundles close at midnight local time for the seller. So for example, for me, it's midnight Eastern Standard Time. For Kelly Irish, it would be midnight Pacific Standard Time. Where you live, it's midnight where you, the seller, live. Not where the buyer lives. That would be chaotic. Where the seller lives, that it's midnight that it closes, and a new box opens up at 1 minute past midnight on Monday morning. So orders after that time go into the next box. So if you want to do a Midnight Madness show, you'll be everything you sell up to midnight on Sunday will go into that week's box, and anything from 1 minute past midnight onwards goes into the next week's box. So both the seller and the buyer have to opt into the feature for weekly bundling to work. If you are a seller and you want to opt into it, you need to go to your seller hub on a computer, laptop, on your mobile device, but on the browser, go to seller.whatnot.com, go to shipments, and then you are going to, there's a little button when you click on shipments, there's a little button off to, and if Whatnot's listening right now, you need to add this note in because it's not in these instructions. Off to the right hand side of the screen, there's a little open sidebar button. You want to click on that open sidebar button, and then the sidebar will open, and weekly bundling will look like this in the sidebar. So there's the sidebar, and weekly bundling is right there. So you want to turn that on. So again, you go to seller.whatnot.com, you go to your shipments. On the right hand side of your screen, there will be a little button that says open sidebar. You click on that. That's not in the FAQ. Click on that little open sidebar button, and then the weekly bundling will pop up. Buyers can opt into weekly bundling two different ways. First of all, they can go to their settings. So on their phone or on like on the web, you go to your settings, you go to addresses and payments, and then you toggle on weekly bundling. Or if you're in seller's stream and they offer weekly bundling, you go to your wallet. So anybody who hasn't done it yet, you can go to the wallet now, and you can see it on my profile. Go to the wallet in one of my live shows, and you'll see weekly bundling, and you can toggle it on or off. Since not all buyers are opted in, so a buyer doesn't have to opt into it. So if some sellers think, oh good, that means I only have to ship once a week. Nope. No. No, because if a buyer doesn't opt into weekly bundling, you are going to have to ship out those items that they purchased after your show. You can't wait. Do not wait, because it's going to affect your ship times. So why did it? Oh, there we go. So sellers are still responsible for fulfilling both standard orders and weekly bundled shipments. And I'm going to talk about definitions in a little bit, because bundle is used a lot over Whatnot in different features and means of selling. And so I'm going to talk about the difference between weekly bundling, etc. So after each live stream, you're going to go in and check to see if there are any shipments that need to go out right away. And it's really easy to do. You go to your seller hub, and if they go to their seller hub, then you're going to see needs label on your seller hub on your phone. It's going to say needs label. Just click on that, and it will actually tell you the date that that box closes. So for example, for this week, February 1st is the date that shows for all weekly bundled boxes. So anything that doesn't say February 1st, I know those ones need to go out right away. Searching with ADHD asks, if a buyer buys two things during my show, for example, and then they want weekly bundling, can they toggle it on and those two items will be included? If they buy two things during your show and then they turn on weekly bundling during your show and buy another thing, then yes, those things will all be put into the weekly bundle. But if you do a show on Monday and they didn't turn on weekly bundling, and then they come into your show on Tuesday and then they turn on weekly bundling, the Monday box still has to go out separate. It won't bundle all together. And don't try to bundle, don't use the bundle unbundle feature, because it's going to count against you, especially if you do a Monday show. So if a buyer, it has to be in the same show. It has to be in the same show. If they're in your show and they buy one or two things and then they realize, oh, I want weekly bundling, then they can turn it on. And if they buy another thing after that, so yeah, it's better for most buyers. Once you turn on weekly bundling, they're not going to want to turn it off, because they're saving money on shipping, right? Maybe during like holiday seasons or something where somebody suddenly wants to get something faster because they want it for a family member or something, maybe they might turn it off and then turn it back on again in your show. But otherwise, most of the time, I think that most buyers are just going to turn it on and leave it on. So yeah, as a buyer, I would recommend you just turn it on and leave it on, especially if you like to save on shipping. Touched by Autism, do you have to scan your packages at drop off? If you don't scan your packages If you're using Chit Chats, I highly recommend you scan your packages at drop off. If you are using Canada Post, I still highly recommend that you scan your packages. If you have that feature on your phone now to scan packages, it's been rolling out across Whatnot. So it hasn't been going out. Sometimes Whatnot rolls out things to everybody all at once, and then other times they roll out features slowly so that they can do a test to see whether there's any kinks before they send it out to everybody. So if you have that feature, I would recommend just doing it. It doesn't take that long. Yeah, even if you get the tracking stuff, it doesn't take long at all. All you have to do is just go boop, 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 boop. You can even do that like before, if you're about to put them in the car when you leave the house to go to the post office, just do it before you put it in the vehicle. Do it and then drop it off, and then you don't need to worry. And it's going to make your ship times look better, because if there's any delay, see, the thing is that the system, even Canada Post system, has a delay. Even when they do the beeping, when you drop it off, there's a delay. So anyways, back to weekly bundling. So at the end of each week, your bundles are going to close at Sunday at midnight, the seller's local time. Bundles have to be shipped within 2 business days of the bundle close. So by the end of Tuesday, the items need to be shipped. You can choose to generate labels before Sunday at midnight, and that will close the bundle. So if you know for sure you did your show on Friday, and you know for sure you're not going to be doing any shows Saturday and Sunday, and you're not worried about somebody buying something from the marketplace, then you could close those bundles and start your shipping early. That's up to you. When you go into seller.whatnot.com, you can actually filter. And see only weekly bundles. It's actually a new filter, so you can see only weekly bundles, or hide all weekly bundles. So it makes it easier when you're doing your shipments to just hide all weekly bundles, so you only see what you need to do immediately after a show. Okay, so I'm going to now switch to my little script that I wrote. Back again. Can buyer ask to prematurely close a weekly bundle? For example, they don't want to wait. Yes. Yeah. If a buyer messages you and says, can you please close my week? Like, can you ship my stuff early? And you are willing to do that. It is optional for the seller to say yes to that. The buyers have to understand that if they use weekly bundling, then that's a social contract between you. That, but I would certainly do it. If a buyer said, "Can you please send my stuff early? I accidentally turned on weekly shipping, or I actually I was just thinking about it and I want to be able to give that to my friend next week. Can you ship it out early?" Then yeah, I would do that for them. Lydia, if you've had any problems, message Whatnot support. Go to your orders and click on get help with this order, and Whatnot support should be able to help you. Okay. So I just want to quickly do some definitions of what weekly bundling means versus other types of bundling, because the word bundle gets used a lot on Whatnot. So there are 3 different types of bundles on Whatnot. First and foremost, there are seller created bundles. So either a seller says, I've got this bundle of gifts for a new baby. I've created this bundle that I'm selling, starting at $20 for this cute little welcome baby bundle. Or a buyer says, can you bundle those items for me and set them aside? And then the buyer pays one price for all the items in that bundle. That's a regular bundle. Then there is a system called smart bundling that Whatnot uses for figuring out postage and packaging. So smart bundling works mostly in the US with the US shipping system, which is different from the Canadian system, much more complicated. The first item is your highest shipping. It's incremental charges afterwards, and the box closes when the show ends. Smart bundling, that's just the way that the Whatnot system figures out what weights to add to the box and how much that's going to cost in postage for your customers. Now, weekly bundling is the new feature that is available in Canada for Canadian sellers. And just to note that, hang on, I'm going to read off that. So, weekly bundling is not available in the United States, and US buyers are not eligible to use weekly bundling either. Buyers who can use it are in Germany, Austria, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Canada. So weekly bundling is an optional feature. So if you don't want to use it, you don't have to, but I'm going to explain why I think you should use it. So the reason why it is a great feature for, especially for Whatnot Canada, is because people are always saying shipping's too high, shipping's too high. Well, this way, if you do multiple shows in a week, or you have stuff in your marketplace, your buyers are going to be able to save on that first initial high cost, because the way that Whatnot shipping works, the charges that they charge the customer are based on the weight of the package, as well as the distance from the seller to the buyer. And that's all figured out in the back end. So when you are in a show, a regular show without weekly bundling, if you buy 10 things, all those 10 things are going to get smart bundled into one box, but you're going to pay that first initial price that is the highest price for the cost of the box to ship the items. And then each item that's added to the box has a little bit extra weight, and as the weights increase, a small amount will get charged to your buyer for that next weight category as things are added. So sometimes it'll be zero for shipping for one item, and then the next item might be $1.50, and then it goes to 50 cents depending on the weight. Lightweight items tend to add very little. If you're doing 0 to 1 ounces, like in trading card games, you're adding very, very little. There's usually zero charge. So if you keep a box open for an entire week, your buyer isn't going to have to pay that initial high amount for the first item for shipping, because they already did that at the beginning of the week. And it's going to increase the number of sales that you get, because people come into your show and they see down below that shipping is like 25 cents. Well, that feels a lot better, right? Anytime people see that the shipping is next to nothing, it encourages them to bid more. So their box stays open across multiple shows throughout the week between Monday and Sunday, as well as marketplace purchases. So stuff that you have in your profile, if a buyer buys from that too, and they have weekly bundling on, it's all going to ship into one package. It's a huge savings. So the message that you want to deliver to your customers is save on shipping by turning on weekly bundling. Now, we as sellers are going to have to educate our buyers, because not all buyers, most people don't read emails that they receive from Whatnot. So most buyers are not going to be aware of weekly bundling until they hear about it from one of us. So it's really important that you mention it throughout your show, put it in your show notes. I've been doing polls at the top that say, have you turned on your weekly bundling? Yes, I love to save money. No, I like to spend more money, or I didn't know it was a feature. I'm going to go turn it on now. And that way it's always up there at the top for people. When they come into my show, they're going to see that poll as soon as they come in. So I'm not having to repeat myself 20 times during the show, but you should kind of make it a regular cadence, and part of your show rhythm is that every once in a while you say, hello, welcome in. My name is the Red Rooster. We're doing a seller chat today. We're talking about weekly bundling. I have the weekly bundling feature on. If you would like to save money on shipping, go to your wallet right now and toggle on weekly bundling, and everything that you buy from me in the week is going to go into one box, saving you a lot of money on shipping. Now, once a buyer has paid for that first box, as we all know, it's always been since the dawn of Whatnot Canada. It's always been getting over the hurdle of that first purchase. Once a customer makes that first purchase and gets and opens a box and they've broken shipping, as we call it, it's so much easier for them to add more items into their box because they've already saved on shipping. And a lot of people tend to buy in Whatnot shows when they know that they're going to be buying multiple items in order to be able to save on shipping. So this makes it even easier for you to get that first purchase out of someone in each of your shows because they know they're going to be saving all the way along throughout the week. If you only do one show a week, I would still recommend turning on weekly bundling because sometimes you're going to suddenly want to do a pop-up, or you might be invited to a really amazing raid train and that's not on your regular day of the week, and so you end up doing 2 shows a week. Or or really important, start filling up your marketplace. You have a whole store that's available to you 24/7 for your buyers to come in and buy from you. So my recommendation is, every time you finish a show, take a few things from your show that didn't sell that you already had pre-listed, change them, increase the price a little bit to a buy it now price, put it in your marketplace, put it on your profile. Because if you have weekly bundling on, buyers that buy from you in your shows can then shop from you the rest of the week and put more things in their box from your profile. And you will gain more sales that way. If they come to your profile and see an item and you don't have weekly shipping, they're going to have that full price for shipping and it's going to scare them off. But it's going to be so attractive when it's next to nothing for shipping's super reduced. They're going to be more willing to buy something from your profile, and you can start driving people to your profile um, while you're talking in your show. So you can say, and by the way, I have a whole bunch of stuff in my profile for sale, so you can shop with me 24/7 throughout the week, and all those items are going to go into the same box. So you don't have to do 2 or more shows a week in order to gain an advantage of using weekly bundling or offering weekly bundling. Um, so weekly bundling turns that whole idea of I've already paid shipping yesterday in that show to, I could add more. I should just add more to my box. I'm saving even more money. Um, Now, I'm just going to check and see if there are any questions or anything. What happens if after the initial charge you get a free giveaway the next day? How does that initial shipping cost get returned to the customer? Lydia, it doesn't. Thank you, Elvery Vintage. The if a buyer who's already made a purchase, so so a free giveaway is the item, and the buyer pays the shipping, whatever the shipping cost is to ship it to that buyer. If a buyer has already made a purchase, then the seller is only paying the extra amount for the weight of that item. So there is no initial shipping cost. It will get returned to the customer if they win a giveaway in another show, because the buyer only pays the shipping that's required to put that in a box. So if it's the first item that that they've gotten for the week, and they haven't made a purchase yet, and they've got weekly bundling turned on, then the seller will pay for that shipping for that item creating the box. But otherwise, um, the seller is going to pay the shipping for that incremental weight being added to the box that's already open. So there's not an initial shipping cost that gets returned um, to the customer. Angie says, I'm starting to do 2 or 3 shows a week. Once I'm in my shop, might be longer shows or more shows. That's exciting. Vintage Buyback Kelly Irish says, I only do 1 show a week, but my shop is always full. And my future plan is to list more frequently during the week and promote that. Yeah, just push people to it. Encourage people to come to your store. Think of it as a store, open 24/7. You've got a show that never closes, a marketplace that they can come to and shop with you throughout the week, and just say, you know what, I'm adding more stuff into my store, so you can check it out. And if you want to add to your box, you can purchase from my profile. A lot of people worry that if it's outside of a live show that it's not going to bundle, but I have been told it will bundle. Um, Angie says, I check out a lot of my friends shop and everyone has so many beautiful items to sell. Exactly. Touched by Autism, I've listed all my clothing for auction before I have the auction. Yeah, so if you want to list your clothing ahead of time, you could always put it in as a buy it now. And then if you want to say you want to so Marika, bins are different from marketplace. Buy it now is in a show. Marketplace, your store on Whatnot is different. And so if you don't have stuff, they can certainly buy from your profile if it's live in a future show, but if it's not, so but yeah, so if you're using auction to sell clothing, but you want to like have it available to be purchased 24/7 as a buy it now or in your marketplace, then I would recommend listing it as a buy it now, and then you can run that buy it now item as auction at a lower amount during your show. So you can say, I'm going to be starting, I have a whole bunch of stuff in my buy it now. When you do your live show, you can say a whole bunch of stuff in my buy it now. But I'm going to be running these items starting at $10 or whatever, or 50% off or whatever you want to do. Golden for me is doing more shows a week while I still work is very taxing on me. I'm super happy to do both. Yes. I think even if you've already got stuff that you listed, if you make it a habit of, even if you're working full time, if you make it a habit of listing maybe like 5 things a day, just make it a small amount. Make it such a small amount that you're probably going to go over that each day, but make it a small amount where you say like, even if I just do 2 items, that adds up over a month, right? 2 items a month is 60 items. 5 items a month is a lot more that I don't want to math right now. I don't want to math. I'm not going to math. 150, something like that. So it adds up really quickly by just giving yourself a little bit of grace and doing a little bit at a time. A lot of people think, oh my God, I got to get all of this done. And so how do you, my father used to say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So the man that was filled with anxiety always gave really great advice to other people. One bite at a time. Just take little bites and not worry too much about the entire elephant. And eventually the elephant will be gone. I think now if people can buy from the bin and it's bundling, people will buy more. Some people may not want to bid on an auction. Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Whatnot is that there's so many different ways that you can Whatnot. So you can just do buy it now. You can just do auctions. You can just have your static marketplace and not go live. Like there's just so many ways to Whatnot. And I think taking a little bit from everything and using it, weekly bundling is going to make it, for those who don't do a lot of shows, weekly bundling is going to be a way for you to push more sales by encouraging people to go to your marketplace. So sometimes it's just, even if you've listed a bunch of things for auction, and then after the show ends, you can quickly go to seller.whatnot.com. You can go to inventory, and it takes time to do it, but you can go into your inventory and you can see what you have that's currently available, and you can select things to very quickly bulk edit and move it from auction to buy it now, or change all the prices to one price, or there's so many different options. I can change the shipping profiles on a whole bunch of things all at once. There's so many different bulk edit options you can do. Yes, if the seller has weekly bundling turned on and the buyer turns it on, then the buyer's marketplace purchases will get bundled with their live purchases. Lydia asked, does bin mean buy it now? Yes. So we say the bin. Check out the bin, the buy it now. But the bin is the buy it now. It's just it's Whatnot lingo. We have a lot of Whatnot lingo. Hey, Picky, how are you? Good morning, everybody. Okay, so one of the amazing things is that we have some really great folks in Australia who've been coming into my shows and chatting and telling us about things, including Beck. And Beck told us that one of the because Australia has had weekly bundling for months, sellers have really leaned into it and used it as a selling tool to increase their sales. One of the things that they've done, besides encouraging marketplace purchases, one of the things that they've done is a midnight speed round. And I'm actually thinking, if my body will let me, I'm going to do Sunday evening shows. Even though I said I'm not going to do Sunday shows, I think I'm going to do Sunday evening shows every once in a while and do this kind of like not at midnight. I'm not going to stay up till midnight, but in Australia, which turns out did you know Australia has 8 time zones? I didn't know that. Hey there, Rianne Sells. Hello, welcome in. You're Australian and you're the one that, hello, good evening to you, or good middle of the night to you. How are you? Welcome in. Everyone follow Rianne Sells, a wonderful Australian seller. So they do speed rounds at midnight where they have like countdown clocks behind them. Like the last 30 minutes before midnight, they got these cool countdown clocks running, and they do speed rounds and sell as fast as they can, like 10 seconds, sudden death, and they're sell all the way up until midnight to like really encourage people to fill up that box and save money before midnight goes and it's, Cinderella has to go back to her pumpkin instead of her coach, right? So it's a really cool, exciting feature. And the really important thing is to make sure, if you're doing a Sunday show and you're doing a late night show, is the language she uses like, this week's box closes at midnight, so make sure you get your purchases in before midnight. You can even do on your social media, you can say, weekly bundling closes at midnight. Make sure to go to my profile and shop my store and put as much as you want into the store. So they start the shows at like 11 p.m. or something, and everything that sells before midnight gets it. Yeah, exactly, Duchess. So Rianne Sells, make sure everybody follows and bookmarks Rianne Sells shows so you can watch it for yourself. So midnight there would be like, I guess afternoon here. So you should be able to check it out during the day. Rianne says we sell lots in that time using weekly bundling. So Angie said someone suggested a sudden death raid train for Canada. I would do it if someone would help. That sounds like fun. So you can say this box closes at midnight. Encourage on your social media to do that. People should go to your store and look at what items you have to add to their box. You can even send, not spammy, but you can send messages to some of your buyers to say, just a reminder, your weekly box closes. A yay or a nay? Okay. Sorry. Trying to run a live auction, silent auction at the same time as this is anything with the tag is fair game. All right, sorry. No, oh. All right, chaos, hang on. Please hold. Okay, Daddy just got home, so chaos has exploded. I don't know if Mel saw that. It says delivered. Hopefully Mel saw it. So sorry, back to weekly bundling. So encouraging your oh, look at that. You've got a partner for doing a raid trade. A DJE says hard to win with sudden death, in my opinion, frustrating. So the key with sudden death is to add that custom bid. So instead of swiping, if you're a bidder doing sudden death, you want to click on custom and then type in your bid. And I recommend 10-second sudden death is a little bit fast. In most shows, do 15 seconds would be my recommendation. Okay, back to it. So speed rounds and encouraging people. Yes, you can put, so using the custom bid creates that max bid, and you just put in, so say the most you want to spend is $100, you type in 100, you hit save, and then the system will bid for you so that you don't have to keep swiping. It'll just keep bidding, and as long as you have the highest amount, if someone else custom bids on you and does 101, then it will eliminate you, but otherwise it's the best way to win. It's like sniping, but a lot easier. So another feature that you can use, a whatnot feature that you can use to encourage more people to start buying from you using weekly bundling is to offer giveaways at the beginning of the week. Now, you know, my feelings on giveaways have been, I've said it a lot, but if you like to do giveaways, if you want to do giveaways, they're not cheap. You as the seller are going to pay that initial price for shipping. So think of it as an offer to do free, nearly free or reduced shipping for your customers by offering the giveaway. So a buyer's giveaway is great, but if you want to use, Whatnot is suggesting to sellers that if you do giveaways at the beginning of the week, basically you've broken shipping for that customer who's won that item. And then you can say to that person, hey, congratulations, I hope you turned on weekly bundling, because now you've totally broken shipping and all your items for the rest of the week are going to be so cheap to ship. So hopefully that will convert more giveaway winners into buyers, because my research and Jeremy from Grade 13 and a few other people, they've looked at tracking stats, and they've found that giveaway winners don't necessarily equal buyers. But with weekly bundling, suddenly there's an extra advantage and an extra incentive for your giveaway winners to purchase from you throughout the week. So they may come back. Yeah, so your Givey Goblins, maybe not so much, but you never know. They may come back during the week because they see something that's interesting. I've had lots of Givey Goblins who've come into my shows, and I just treat them like everybody else and show them love, and they've purchased from me. So you know, if you can turn a giveaway winner into a buyer, you've definitely won. So you are basically offering, Shiny Thing says, don't underestimate a goblin. I've pulled sales from them. If they've got the time to sit and watch Whatnot shows and go into Whatnot shows just to try and win giveaways, they probably are in an economic status that has some room for them to make purchases. Oh, you feel like a yo-yo today in my show? I'm sorry. Okay, so I want to talk about workflow for a second, because I think this is really important and is what is scaring some sellers off of using weekly bundling, is that they think that they're going to have a huge area that they're going to have to set aside for all the stuff that they've sold. To you know, like they're going to have 40 boxes for each person and that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk about workflow And also and I heard this on Sunday in a podcast. It was Whatnot Resellers. So I said, we've got weekly bundling coming, and they said, oh, well, no, because that means that all day Monday we're going to have to do shipping. But no, not if you still do your shipping work throughout the week. If you want to use this to your advantage of not having to do much shipping except for on Mondays, have at her. But you can actually create a workflow that means that Monday's weekly bundling ship out is fast and easy. And the way you do that is it's very simple. So what you want to do is after every single show, you go to your seller hub and you identify all your non-weekly bundle orders. You wrap and ship those immediately. The bonus is, folks, that a lot of us have longer ship times because we sell so much in one show that it takes us a long time to ship it all out. But when it's only, and I can tell you through polling that I've done and the statistics from my own shows that 90% or more of my buyers are doing weekly shipping. So I had 94 items to ship out the first week that I tested weekly bundling. Only two shipments had to go out right away. This week so far, I've only had to ship out one shipment right away. So weekly bundling helps to actually cut down on the amount of shipping you have to do right after a show, but from a get it out the door immediately. So your ship times are actually going to look better. Your ship times are going to go up because if you only have to concentrate on one shipment for your show because everybody else is a weekly bundle, then you can do that right away, package that up, print the label, and get it to the post office as soon as possible, right? Then after you've wrapped and shipped those items, you're going to go and all of the items that you've sold, you're going to wrap them and get them box ready. So bubble wrap them, protect them, whatever it is that you do to prepare your items to go into a box or a poly mailer. I want them box ready after your show. So priority number one is to do the non-weekly bundle sales and then wrap everything up and label it. So very, very simple. Wrap it up and oh my gosh, shiny things, that sounds insane. Wrap it up and label it, and then so that it clearly has the buyer's username on it, and then set it aside. You do not need to have 40 boxes open and have a wall of boxes with everybody's name on it that you keep adding to. What I want you to do is just get a tote or some other secure, I use Banker's boxes, and yeah, I use Banker's boxes. So I just fill up the Banker's box with all of the items from the show after they've been wrapped up. And then I just stack my Banker's boxes up. And when it comes time on Monday, I just grab all the Banker's boxes and I grab each person's stuff and then I box it up. So Rianne says that's exactly what we do in Australia. We check daily, then the balance of the items on Monday. So if you do that workflow, one workflow after every show, which is start by checking to see what items need to be shipped right away that are not weekly bundles, getting those ready to ship and getting the labels on those, then box ready. So package up your items, protect your items, whatever it is you need to do, depending on what they are. So if I had a whole bunch of vases, all those vases would get paper and bubble wrap and all ready to go. If you do I use sticky notes and then I tape the sticky notes because I use sticky notes when I'm running my shows. So I write down the person's name and stick it onto the item. And then I take that sticky note and reuse it and I just tape it. I tape the sticky note onto the paper because I always wrap everything in paper. So I tape it around that and that works. So if you already use sticky notes, you don't have to have painter's tape. Painter's tape works really great. Anything that's I like sticky notes because I do books and all that, and it's just faster for me to use some branded Post-it notes. So you're going to wrap everything up so it is so easy to very quickly just grab and go on Monday. You are not going to be, oh, that's a good question. What time of day is the best to do a show if you want to attract Australian buyers? I would assume Rianne sells that like your busiest time is probably from like 6 p.m. onwards. So I think it's like what, 3 in the morning right now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah. So Brienne sells shows are at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah. So it's so they're not like 12 hours ahead. It's a little bit off from that, but just think that when it's morning here, it's so I would say, yeah, if Rianne Sells is doing shows at 5 a.m. Eastern, then you doing shows at 6 or 7 a.m. Eastern would attract Australian buyers because that's like late at night. So I would say 4 a.m. onwards. Rianne Sell says, we are clothing sellers and keep on a rack. We use plastic discs with the buyer's name to divide items. That's brilliant. And TJKT says, when I run my shows, I have the poly mailers ready. And when someone buys, I put in the poly mailer right away with a sticky note with their username. Yeah, that works too. Whatever works for you. Yeah, so very early morning shows, Shiny Things, because it's 11 a.m. Eastern and it's like about 3 a.m. there right now. Okay, so making your workflow simple so that it's not overwhelming. Because I mean, if I had to do, when I sell, I usually sell a lot at once, right? Like I usually sell a lot. And the idea of me doing a whole week's worth of shipping on one day is overwhelming to think of. And it was actually like, I was a little scared. And then I realized, no, if I just get into the habit of after every show, shipping out the stuff that needs to go out right away first, and then wrapping everything up so it's ready to box and having it labeled properly, I will not have as much of a hassle when it comes to Monday shipping. And I'm telling you, it worked really well. I know, isn't it fun? It's a dress. It's a funky dress. Okay, so I want to talk about killing the space myth that you need to have a huge amount of storage space and lots of boxes. So please don't think that you need to have a literal box open for every single person. Not yet, Marika. I wouldn't hold my breath, but we can live in hope. So you do not have to have a literal box open. It's a figurative box. Okay. It is just that at the end of it all, you are going to put things into separate boxes, but you do not have to have literal boxes lined up somewhere in your house. You do not need to do that. You can put things all together as long as you've got it properly labeled with whose is what, then you're not going to have a problem at all. Obviously, if you do have the space, you could do that. But if you don't have the space, it is not necessary. And most of us don't have the space to have that many boxes sitting out open. Another objection that some sellers have is they say, I don't want to hold orders. So because the shipping clock starts Sunday at midnight and Monday is the final packing day, they feel like I'm holding orders for too long. But just remember, the person's already bought the item. It's already a guaranteed sale. It's not like you're holding things back, like, can I just put this up at the counter while I go and look around some more type of retail environment where you hold it there and then they disappear and they don't come back for 2 days and they haven't paid for it. They've already paid for it. You will get, when you ship it out to them, you will get paid out for that item. So I would say that Rianne Settles says, we do have a huge amount to ship on Mondays, but it only takes me about 4 hours. Yeah. And because I'd already done all the work beforehand, it took me 2 hours to do 94 items. Oh, that's brilliant. Shiny Thing says, I mainly sell small stuff and have a screw holder case with a bunch of drawers for my buyers. I love that idea. Or some people say it's too complicated. It's basically the same thing that you are already doing, wrapping up your items, getting them ready to ship, except you're not shipping them that that day or the next day. You're shipping them on Monday or Tuesday. It's just delayed label generation. Um, or someone says, some people say, I don't have space. We already talked about that. Now, the other objection that I've heard from sellers is that my payout is going to get delayed. And yep, yeah, it is. If you sell on Monday and you don't generate a label until the following Monday, yes, but you're going to increase sales. I want to scream it. You're going to increase sales. Your buyers are going to buy more from you throughout the week because you've got weekly bundling. And if you decide, you know what, I'm going to ship these things out, I'm going to close these weekly bundles early, you can do that. I would, if you're not interested in pushing customers to and encouraging customers to go to your marketplace on your profile and buy from your profile, then sure, close early. But I think you are missing out by saying, I don't want to wait. I think you're missing out on an opportunity for more sales. And at the end of the day, it's more sales that you want. So buyers are far more likely to buy multiple times once their shipping is broken. So you're going to trade speed of payout for higher total sales. Yeah, the cost of shipping deters buyers, and so if you're going to do 2 or 3 shows without weekly bundling because you want to get your money right away, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, in my humble opinion. So weekly bundling works really well because buyers are only paying for one box, and once that box is paid for, shopping feels cheaper to them. If you already wrap as you sell, weekly bundling doesn't add work, it just spreads out the work. And you can make this as complicated as you want, but it's really fairly simple process. And it's just about the discipline of doing what you're already doing when you do multiple shows, but you're just not doing that final step of sticking everything in one box and putting a label on it. You're just going to hold those things till later in the week. What's my other note? That's it. That's it for me. Okay. Feel free to ask questions and share your shows. We've finally gotten to the end of this weekly bundling fun. Rianne Sells, who's in Australia, says you do increase sales. Buyers return each show to add to their bundle. Yes, absolutely. My daughter got me this mug because they do sound. Oh yeah, good one. Angie, feel free to just ask. Everyone share your shows, and Angie would like to know where everybody's from. So everybody share where you're from. We know Rianne Sells is in Australia, which is awesome. I'm in Hastings, Ontario, Canada, which is an hour and a half from Toronto, 30 minutes from Peterborough, an hour from Belleville, on beautiful Trent River, which is still not frozen over, and it won't be. Magnus by Marika is in Tottenham, Ontario. Pickles is in BC. Lydia says it sounds easier and faster to have only one box per person a week instead of a box per show for those same customers. Yes. Now, again, they have to, the buyer has to opt in as well. So if a buyer doesn't opt into weekly bundling, you do have to still send out. Vintage Buyback, Kelly Irish is in northern BC. Picky Picks is in Alberta. Pinch Packs is in Mount Bridges, Ontario. Absolute Flipping Deals is 40 minutes away from me in Tweed. Stony Creek, Ontario for Bead Kind DIY. Shiny Things is in Saskatchewan/Alberta. You're like Dave from Alberta. I sell jewelry with beautiful all natural stones like amethyst and opal. I love it. Angie's This and That is having a yarn sale this afternoon and continuing the jewelry run from last night. I am Listowel, Ontario. Jude's Closet asks, so when you complete a box for a customer at the end of the week and the box is bigger, do you have to do a custom label? So Juice Closet, when you go to everybody, when you go to ship, you should always change the dimensions. So yes, you will change the dimensions of the box before you ship it out. So you will go to seller.whatnot.com, go to your shipments, and at the end of the shipments is a little edit button. And you can do this on your phone or ideally on a laptop, because it is easier to look at, because it is a long page. You just edit, and then you put in the correct weight and the dimensions of the box. You get 5 free shipping adjustments per week. I can tell you that because I always make sure my weights are higher than because you're always doing shipped weight, not raw weight before it's all packaged up and put in a box. And then I add a little bit more to that. I had 7 adjustments that first week for 94 items. I had 7 adjustments, but I only paid for 2. And it worked out to 7 cents. It cost me 7 cents per item for my shipping adjustment costs. So really, a small cost to doing business. I would just keep that in mind. Nobody do dollar starts. Don't be me. Don't do dollar starts. Touched by Autism is February 3rd doing 10 a.m. clothing auction, and February 5th, 10 a.m. Avon dolls. Ooh, in Ontario. And Vintiquity is on tonight from British Columbia. Beautiful Chemainus, British Columbia. Mia Vita, I'm in Ontario and having a ladies plus size clothing show Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hi, Vintiquity. I saw your messages. Vintiquity's third Whatnot anniversary is coming up. 3 years on Whatnot is coming up. So she's doing a big show for that. What day of the week is that one? You've probably already said, and it's just I haven't gotten to it yet. Duchess Vintage is from Montreal. I sell vintage clothing usually, and having a first show tonight of vintage trinkets and decor items. TJKT 2009 is clothing and accessories sale every Sunday at 1 p.m. Trying to get more shows up during the week now with the new bundling in Kitchener, Ontario. I love that. Magnus by Marika says Valentine continued show this afternoon. Awesome. Jude's Closet is in Oshawa, Ontario. Women's clothing and accessories and makeup. Mia Vita, what if you sell box lots? If you sell box lots, I would do a custom shipping profile for that. If you're selling like big, heavy box lots, I would do that. But if like today, I'm gonna be taking you guys down to the auction booth that I have at the antique market, and I might have some box lots that we're gonna do, and those will be heavier profiles because it's gonna be weighty and take up space. Angie's This and That says, and please, anyone who sells clothing or accessories, come join the raid train. It's the clothing accessories raid train, the 3rd Sunday of every month. Message Angie's This and That to get in on that raid train. Or if you want to, you can join our Discord. And I promise our Discord is not super busy and it's not super complicated. It's like a little bulletin board system. And we have everything organized in different chats. So I highly recommend you go check that out. What was I going to do on here? Why did I grab this? I can't even remember. I'm looking, actually, let me look at the poll. 4 people have said they didn't know it was an option. 1 person says they don't mind paying more. And everybody else says, I love saving money on shipping. I love that. And I just think that those percentages, I know this is a very interested crowd. Those percentages you're going to see that more and more, that most of the buyers who come into your shows are going to want to use weekly bundling. Vintiquity says, I want to invite everyone to my 3 years selling on Whatnot tonight, 3:35 p.m. Pacific time, 6:35 p.m. Eastern. I'm so excited. Happy Whatnot anniversary. Sean's Treasures Art, hello. Look at you, Donna, selling $4,100 worth of silver on Thursday. Can someone post on Discord? I cannot get it. Yes, for sure. Although Discord is available at discord.com, so you don't actually have to You don't actually have to go and get the app. You can log into discord.com instead. Oh no, did silver prices just go down? Oh, that sucks. Okay, the unofficial Discord. This is the unofficial Whatnot Canada Discord. It crashed. It was bound to happen. Loki, go see Daddy. You need to get your paws cleaned. No, all right, Mommy's got to do it. Paw, come up. I don't want your paw. I want your paw. There's this big. Yeah, he's just got tap shoes on now. Okay, so last call for any questions, and then I'm gonna see who we can raid. I'm gonna look for that while you guys type in any questions you have or share your shows or whatever you want to do. This is a short but sweet one. Oh my gosh, look at Lemaire. She's got 31 people in the house. That is awesome. I'm just seeing. I like to find someone who's got low numbers. So looks like we're gonna go into Christine Wolf, I think. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay. All right. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Pinch Packs. That's what I'm here for. I usually do more seller secrets but because of the fact that weekly bundling just started this Monday, I thought it was important that I do this show. So we are going to go into visit. Let me just see if I can do this. We have to end the poll. Wait, sorry, send. Boop. It's my first show. Hang on. End poll. Yay. Everybody loves saving money on shipping. Go figure. Surprise. Amir Hodge. Nice comps. No, it's not suggesting who I want. There we go. Select. She's only got 5 people in her show, so let's show her some love. Stamp Pickers is having Stamp Pickers is having another huge show. Don't miss out on Vintiquity's 3-year anniversary, Whatnot anniversary tonight at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. And I love you guys. Have a great day. I'll be on in just another hour and a half or so at the antique market. So we'll go check out all the stuff that I got there. Love you.